Hey, what's going on, man?
Hello.
How are you?
Good, good, good.
Awesome, man. So the unconscious edge, we solve problems of the mind. So
Nice.
whatever it is that you're dealing with in business or in life, I'm here to help you out. So if you let me know what the struggle is, then we'll dive into it and get some solutions for you.
Awesome. Great. Um, hmm.
Hey, what's going on, Justin?
Hey Ryan, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well.
That's a big mug you got there. You got me beat. This guy.
Got to fuel up. So is there anything, Ignacio, that you're dealing with that I can help you out?
It could be anything, like in terms of mindset or like
Yeah, yeah.
anything.
I mean, like personal life, professional life. But like if there's something that's been difficult up here, this is what I can help you out with.
Uh, okay. Gosh, I've got like a couple of things, but I'd
Yeah.
say okay. So I guess the thing that I'm struggling the most with
Yep.
is I tend to go on cycles in the sense of like. I focus, I do very well in my offer. I get
Yep.
good results. And then when I get to a point where I'm doing really good results, as in like the CEO is congratulating me, I'm top of everything and all that stuff, kind of let the pedal of the gas a little bit like loose and stuff, and then I just slack a little bit and I go back and then I'm like, oh shit, and it's kind of as if I'm always motivated externally by something. Um,
Mhm.
and I want to make sure that I'm consistently like growing and not just going like up and down and up and down and up and down and all those things.
Yeah, yeah.
If it makes sense.
Can you, so just thinking of that scenario and that cycle where we're going up really high and then we're dropping down low,
Yeah.
when you feel the need to push emotionally or mentally, what's happening? Is it coming from a place of scarcity that I need to push? Is it coming from a place of abundance? I want more. Like, can you identify what that trigger is to get you to push back up that hill?
So it's just a case where I'm competitive and I'm like, I know I can do better, and it's not necessarily I want. Well, yeah, there's a huge part which is I want more, and I want more abundance, and then when I want to, it's kind of like problem solving. And once I get to, okay, I've finished the problem, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I did it. Then it's like, well, what else is it? Just continue doing this, and it's kind of like boring or something. And then that's what makes me just lift off the um foot from the pedal.
Gotcha. Just to relate, Justin Taka, and I see no one here. Can you guys relate to something like this, like where you press the gas pedal down really, really hard, get to a certain point, but then all of a sudden you start to pull back, pull back, pull back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like it's happened to me before too, in the past.
Yeah. Really,
I think
a really, really common cycle.
Yeah,
So one
and
of the
I'm in it
things,
right now because, like, yeah.
yeah, so one of the things just to point at that you mentioned earlier is this idea of external motivation, right? So if I have a problem to solve, I'm going to go and solve it. But once I solve it and there's no problem to solve, then what do I do? So what 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 we've elicited here is this is your strategy, is I need a problem in order to go forward, right? So in stopping for a second and thinking, what if there wasn't a problem? You could still go forward, right? And how much easier would it be to go forward if you weren't solving the problem, right? So in thinking of your goals and thinking of where you want to go, instead of focusing on a problem, what if you were focusing on a target?
Hmm.
And if we instead of thinking of it as like, hey, we need to shoot and hit this target and then we're done, what if that target's a staircase and it's a step? So what I'm talking about here is creating like that runway or like lengthening your horizon for where you want to go. So it's not just, okay, I solved the problem, now I'm done, I can relax.
Yeah.
It's what can be that next staircase or that next step on the staircase, because there's going to be another step, but the problem you run into when you're in this cycle is you keep stepping on the same step. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. I mean, it's kind of like um I get to a point where I'm like, I know this stuff. I just like, what's the use of just doing it again, 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 again? Because I've had issues with consistency in my life, and it's kind of like I push myself to a point where I have no other option but to do the thing, and then I'll excel and I'll do really well. And it's a pattern that I've realized. Um, but I don't want to be in that point, and I know that consistency is something that I want to develop, and I want to be just happy, like just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and being extraordinary in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, can I ask you a question about the pattern?
Sure, sure.
What's the benefit you're getting out of it?
Uh, the benefit of not being consistent.
Well, is that the benefit? Like what's the
No, no,
payoff
no.
that you're
The payoff is just like, um, I guess it's protecting me from failure and saying I didn't really try, I guess.
there you go. Right. So you see, and Jorge, you can chime in a second. Do you see how we just identified where this pattern that we've been stuck in, we're actually doing it to ourselves?
Yeah.
Like when we do this all the time in business, like, hey, I'm going to stay in this like it's like staying in a place of scarcity because we feel like that's the fuel.
Mhm.
So we identified that the benefit is I'm not going to fail. But what if you pushed it to that next level and proved to yourself, like, you're not going to fail, honestly, because if you're repeating the same pattern, you know that you can do it.
Mm.
So pulling yourself out of this situation where you can now look at, okay, here's the pattern. I am at cause for this. Now, why am I doing it? Because ultimately, like from a mental standpoint, our unconscious mind always wants to do things in our best interest, even if it seems like from an external standpoint, it's hurting us. So we've identified that, hey, I'm stuck in this pattern because it's giving me something to push for, but I'm pushing for the same thing because it's keeping me in this place where I don't have the potential of failing. Makes sense so far?
Yeah, yeah.
Jorge, you want to chime in on something?
Yeah, I had a question, but I can wait till you're done with his question.
Yeah, sure. So now how do we get out of this pattern? How do we break it? Is if we take a look at that staircase, this is how we stepstone ourselves up into the bigger things without that fear of failure and without the need for fear to push. Because thinking this into your personal life, if you're constantly putting yourself into a state of scarcity in order to push forward, it's going to affect everything else, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So, so one, I guess, task I would give for you is to actually create that staircase and that roadmap. So right now, there's a target and there's a goal that's in your mind that you're going to achieve. After that, where are we stepping?
Mm.
And how do we pull ourselves out of this place that, like, it's got to be an urgent thing we got to go do right now. Otherwise, it's going to be the end of the world. And then, oh, we crush it, and now we're the hero, right? Because that's another version of this too, is when you keep hitting the goal, you keep being the hero.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I keep coming in and I save the day for myself, but we never actually have the chance to go and create the new day that we want. We just keep saving the same day. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it does, it does, it does. I feel like that, yeah.
Helpful going through this so far?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna let Jorge chime in. What do you have for a question, sir?
Yeah, so I'd say right now in sales, one of my biggest bottlenecks is my mindset surrounding my attachment to the outcome.
Hmm.
I find, and it's something I've been improving lately, and just like, basing my emotions off of did I follow the process, but I still like inevitably, um, whenever I don't make a sale, it just like propulses this cycle of like laziness. Like, oh, well, I did my process and it didn't work as well as I'd like to, or I didn't hit my goals, so it's useless anyways. Or I'll wait, I'll push this off. So kind of a little bit the same as Ignacio, but deep attachment to the outcome.
Gotcha. What's the outcome provide for you?
Well, on the surface, it's more money. But I'd say the main two emotional drivers is just proving something to myself, like ego driven.
Hmm.
um, as well as just obviously more freedom that comes with having more finances.
So If we're not getting the outcome and then pulling back, what's that proving to yourself?
That, that the goal is too out of reach and that I might as well not try anyways. Or that, something I just disassociate and act like something will change in the vehicle I'm in that will allow me to reach that goal easier.
Yep. What's the thing that really needs to change?
My inputs. Well, yes, but deeper than that, probably my mindset around my inputs of like why I'm doing them.
Yeah, yeah. So you see how we just pulled back and we found that, hey, if I don't get the outcome I want, then it's what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, so attachment to like I will not do this unless I have a result guaranteed. Level of that seems like.
Yeah, so something to think on is like how do we create the process that you want to do anyway? And then how do we create a system where you improve that process every time? Because it's like if we have a process we're not going to hit and we do it and it doesn't work and then we just say, oh, screw it. Like,
Hmm.
we all know that processes need to evolve, right?
Right.
Think like we always have to be testing, we always have to be
Yeah.
experimenting with new ideas. So one of the ways that you can catch yourself into and skip over this cycle so you don't go back down it is like,
Hmm.
okay, here's my process, here's what happened, but immediately, what's one thing I can do to test and see what can we tweak? And what this does mentally is it reframes us right back into a forward movement versus a backward movement. Does that make sense?
Um, well, the process itself, like I love if you're talking about the sales process, I love like learning about sales. And so
Hmm.
like, for example, I'll do more training than I do calls, which is a big issue for me. I love sales, but then like when it gets on the call, I feel like, oh no, something's gonna go wrong, and that'll like more so solidify that I'm not as good as I think I am, or something like that. And so I'd rather just sit in this la la land of like training and getting better.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I don't really know how to
What?
explain. Well, I'm sorry if I'm being vague.
No, I get like so like the way I look at this from a mind standpoint is we have a story,
Yeah.
and you just mentioned what that story is. Did you guys hear what he said? I'm not as good as I think I am. So do you see how the action that you're putting in place is proving your story?
So not the story that I'm good, the story of I'm not as good as I think I am.
Yep.
Uh,
And that's where like changing that story around. And this is where like going deeper into the processes of mind and like how your unconscious mind will carry out exactly what you think. Right? So if you think of that in your mind, you have thoughts, thoughts become words, words
mhm.
become actions, actions become behaviors, behaviors become habits. So changing that internal story from I'm not as good as I think I am to I'm as good as I'm going to get. Because you're training,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm as good, or I mean, you can have your own version of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like my best is enough because I can't physically do more than I know. And so that has to be enough, but I, somehow feel like it isn't. But I see
So
what you're
yeah, so what I would suggest is like a task is how can you go in and continue to reframe that story? Because that's a huge thing to identify right there. Is the consistent story is I'm not as good as I think I am. Because if we allow that to creep in, then you're going to make words come out and actions and behaviors that will prove it. Whether that be doing something on the sales call you're not supposed to, or afterwards going back into like that spiral down that puts you into this lazy spot.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it from like a third person perspective, it's more so it's like not necessarily on the sales call. Of course, I can always improve and I will improve the
Hmm.
sales call process, but it's more so like, and this was subconscious, but now I'm seeing it a little bit better, which is I'm not going to give myself the opportunities to hit my goals because I don't think I'm good enough for it. And so it's a version of I'll either waste time or I'll prove myself wrong, right, and that'll really hurt, or something along those lines.
So based on all the training that you've done and the effort that you put in, do you think you're good enough for it?
I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know.
All right,
Um,
so let's take it another step further. What would that mean? Like, what does it mean to be good enough for it? What's the definition of that in your eyes? What would have to be true for you to be good enough for it?
Um, well, my skill set would have to be there. The boat I'm in, as in like the vehicle, the offer, however you want to call it, would have to be there. Um, my worthiness would have to be there. Um, and the conviction to back it up. I'd say those four.
Can I give you an exercise to do this week?
Please, yeah.
Go through each one of those and define what they are. Like what is your like for you to be worthy, what does that equate to? What is your worthiness? Because in the reason why this is because it's not uh it's not possible to be unworthy if you don't know what worthy is. And you see how like
Yeah,
you're
well,
like that creates a story of I'm unworthy, but we haven't even identified what worthy would be. So by going through each of these, just like we saw now, it's going to pull out that underlying, I guess, reality that you're in. So that way you can reframe it.
that's what I constantly grapple with is I don't know what would make me worthy. Because like as much as I want to believe like I'm just worthy because inherently, um, it seems like my worthiness comes from my inputs. And so I don't really know how to get below that. Like I can pinpoint it, but I don't know how to actually switch the belief, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so that takes a lot, like just to go and switch it like that is like some deep subconscious or unconscious mind work that would have to happen in like an intensive experience. But by pulling this apart and like I talked about that story,
Yeah.
it's that constant effort of reframing that story and changing it up. So in going through and answering these questions and really getting to this clear understanding for yourself of what do you personally define worthy as? And then do you meet those expectations? Because if you do, then you cannot believe you are not worthy because you have the proof in front of you.
And if I don't,
Then you need to make the adjustment so you are. You know, like if you like if you set out a list of items that you identify as this is required to be worthy and
mhm.
you're not meeting those, then the simple answer is you need to go and change your actions to meet those.
Okay. So I can't change what I deem worthy.
Yeah, no, you can change what you deem worthy.
Okay.
But it starts with identifying, like you need to identify currently what you deem as worthy behavior for you in
Yeah.
order for you to fit into that. And if you don't fit into that, then it's an assessment of yourself and what you're doing. And I say self, it's just your assessment of your actions because you are inherently worthy. Even though you might not 100% believe that today, each and every single person sitting on this call is absolutely worthy just by being you. Like that's all you need. It's all it takes. So what we want to do by picking apart these things is we want to pull out the external factors. You know, because right now it's like your mind is grasped with this world of what's worthy because of the world we exist in. It's very much with external validation is what makes you worthy. So we want to break through that, and the way we break through it is by questioning it. And you can very easy for yourself is like, is it true? Like if I believe this is what makes me worthy, and I believe this is that I'm not worthy, is that true? Is it absolutely true? Is it absolutely true without a doubt in your mind that that is true? And when you're getting honest at that level, you'll find a lot of the things that we've created as a story actually are not true, but they're serving us a purpose, generally to keep us safe from something, which is then a whole
Mhm.
nother layer of what am I keeping myself safe from? But
So
this is the tip of the spear, like in terms of where to go.
yeah. So in terms of asking myself the questions, it's just like through journaling, I assume.
Yeah, I would 100 like for
Okay.
everyone, like if you guys anyone else, like I know we got some hand raised, we'll go to questions in a second. Anyone else deal with stuff like this? Like I know we all have to some degree, you know, of this external validation is what makes me worthy. But it's not like it's I guess it's not true. As hard as it is to believe, like you know, so when you go into writing and specifically with journaling, like why I love it so much is because that's you. Like when you sit down and you're in your theater of your mind and you're just writing what you actually think, like that is you. Like your authentic voice. You're not writing to sell anything. You're not writing to prove anything. You just write your thoughts. Like, and I'm telling you, like you'll be amazed at what you find. And easy way to start it, like I could tell you how I do it every single day. Today is a good day. That's the first sentence. Here's how I woke up. Here's what happened yesterday. And then from when you start, just by when you start doing that, you're going to start to pull out things and start to ask yourself some questions. Why did I respond like that? Why did that make me feel that way? And then it's just being honest with yourself. Like there's no one, it's just you talking to yourself. Like the way I think of it is, and like this is what a lot of my work is. Um, and like I have a book if you want a book, it's called Finding Me. I can drop a link that helps you through this process where the journal's in there and everything. But it's
Yeah, please.
identifying, like, yeah, I'll drop it in the chat. It's identifying these, like, we all have parts. We all have parts of us when they all have voices that think things and they tell you that, hey, you're either doing shitty or some days they tell you you're doing amazing. And what you want to do is give those voices a voice. Like allow them to get out what they want to say and then question it so you can help them understand.
Yeah. Immediately there is where I sense the resistance. It's like I cannot let this voice speak because then I will follow it to, a path I don't want to go.
Well, a
It's not
lot
true.
again, but it's not true. And this is from someone like who I like that's what this book is. It's literally my whole process I went through, like in depth of breaking wide open. I show you all my journal entries of how I communicated with the voices and brought them together into one. Because they're all viable parts of yourself that are needed at different times. But when one doesn't get heard, it starts to scream fucking louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
And then that becomes even more resistant to listening because the things that's screaming that are loud aren't things you want to deal with. Generally, not things you like to hear or want to address. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Justin, I know you're on first, so like let me hear what you got, man.
I think
And then
Noah
we'll
had his hand raised before me. I don't
oh
want to jump up.
oh
Real
yeah,
quick though,
no,
I just want to say thank you for that, and Jorge, thank you for sharing that, man. That helped me out a lot too.
awesome guys. Okay, anyway, Noah.
Hey Ryan, good to meet you. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
nice to
new
meet you.
here, so I'm not quite sure. Is this only about mindset, or is it only also about more like technical stuff? So I actually wanted to ask somebody to kind of review the first few questions in the introduction phase, because yeah, to kind of review my tonality because I just wanted to have some feedback on that. But is this only about mindset or
Problems of the mind.
okay? Okay.
I guess
Well,
so. Like problems of the mind is
yeah.
I would listen to your own tonality.
Okay, cool, amazing. Well, that would be amazing. So if somebody wants to be my role play partner, it's just like the first questions, like the intro and maybe the situation question. That would be
Like
amazing.
I'm just saying that not right now. I record it. Like record yourself, listen to it, and assess
Ah,
yourself.
okay, okay, I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All
Yeah.
right, Justin, you have another question that was deeper than that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question was kind of just around confidence. I feel like I kind of lack confidence, and
Hmm.
it might also be like kind of like what you talked to Jorge about, like kind of like the worthiness aspect.
Hmm.
Uh, so just kind of give like a little background. I'm not currently on an offer. I was for a few years, and then I'm not on it anymore. So now I gotta have a little bit of that. Like I feel like my confidence is kind of like knocked down, like
Hmm.
with searching for a new offer at the time. So I don't know if you had
Yep.
any.
Yeah, when was if you can think in your mind back to the last time you felt the most confident, when was it?
Um, it's probably actually like a few years ago on like a past offer even before then. I think just because I was performing really well at the time.
Yep. So right now we're not performing. Makes sense
Mhm.
to not be confident. So what I would think in terms of like getting that confidence is going and finding it through your performance. Does that make sense? Like
So
go,
it does, but I think what I've noticed is like in interviewing for like new jobs and things like that. I feel like it's kind of like coming off that way that I'm not like coming across confident.
Mhm.
That kind of makes any sense.
Yeah. So, well, so what we want to do is we want to break out of this, we want to break out of the stagnation. So the way that you can break out of that stagnation is through repetitive action. Like think about like awesome Hori, that thank you for the support too. Like what provides you with confidence is that performance, right? So in the beginning, you might not sound confident because it's your first few reps getting back into it, but giving yourself more reps, so finding a way to give yourself the reps you need to build the confidence. Where when you talk about the offer that you're offering, where you talk about the subject matter that you're talking on, it's rolling off your tongue without you thinking about it, right? That is how you can actually build yourself up in that confidence just through action. On the mental side, it's going back through some of the things you've already talked about of what is it to be confident? Like, how do you define that? And an exercise similar to some of the ones I've already mentioned is writing down, like I was gonna, well, I'd like to show it to you, but it may take me a while to find it. Like I have a page in my journal of like who I am, like remember who I am. And what I mean by that is like you've done a lot of these things before when you're in that confident state. So write out and remind yourself, like I used to tell, like when I owned a gym for 10 years before I sold it. Um, I would tell my team members like to save some things, like whether it be messages from clients or even when I was doing business coaching, is like same thing for those clients, like save these items to remember who the fuck you are. Right. So going through and getting like a little note card, remember who you are. Or a small thing that I think is kind of silly now looking back at it, but it worked when I first got into sales. When I first opened my business, my mentor at the time told me that when I would do workshops and like sell from stage, is I would have a wad of money in my pocket. And that was to remind me that I don't need your money. Right. So what is the reminder you need to give yourself? I'm not saying it's not you don't need your money, but if it's a reminder about your confidence, carry that note card in your pocket and you literally just touch it. And that touching it is just that physical reminder to your mind. It's tying body to mind of this is who I am. I already have my confidence.
Okay. I think for me it would be almost like what comes to mind is like skill. You know what I mean? Like do I still have like kind of like the skills of sales to be good to get that confidence?
So what would it take for you to believe that you do?
I think probably just like improving, but then also like getting an offer where I'm starting to close deals. I don't know if that's possible to get before the confidence beforehand. You know what I mean?
Well, think I guess correct. Like you want confidence in doing something you haven't done yet. See how it's like an impossible game?
Okay, but it's something I've done in the past, so I think that's why I don't know how I can like get that back in a sense.
So then, like the question, like again, this comes like the mental decisions. You just identified you've done it in the past, which means you have the confidence because you know what to do. So you have those like the skills don't disappear. You know what I mean? Like you've proved to yourself in like that's where the reminder is. It's reminding yourself you have this skill set because you've done it. So whether it be like your sales numbers from before, stats, whatever, all that, like put it on that card. So you know that you have those skills. But currently going into this new offer or obtaining a new offer, it's not possible for you to claim confidence in selling something that you haven't yet done, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But you know
Okay.
that you can do it because you've done it in other contexts, and that confidence translates.
Okay. Interesting.
All it is taking that confidence that you like you're borrowing it from the past and you're pushing it forward to this new offer. Because the skills that you've already trained on, that you've already put into play up here in the other thing, they still exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
like the way like it's just keep finding those things to point at to prove to yourself that this is the confidence that I have.
Is that like listening maybe to like old call recordings in a sense?
It could be like it's whatever works best for you. You know, identifying like what is that thing that gives you the confidence? Is it your sales numbers from before? Is it recordings? You know, but going through and showing yourself again, proving to our mind that I've done this, I have it.
Okay.
Because that stops the other story that goes down of I don't have it anymore. I can't do this.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks,
You know,
Ryan. Appreciate you,
and
man.
then yeah,
Yeah, no, it definitely helps out a lot. Thank you.
yep. Philip, what do you got on your end? I think you're muted still. Let me see if I can ask you to unmute. There you
Uh, my phone started freaking out, man.
go.
Sorry, thank you, thank you. Yeah, check it out. So, um, I do home remodeling sales, and like I'm like driving right now. Like a ton of my day is spent like driving to appointments.
Yep.
Um, and my schedule is totally different every day. It's like very, very unpredictable.
Hmm.
Like sometimes I'll have appointments in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes just all over the place. Um, and I'm just finding it super hard to, when I'm not in house, when I'm not actually in a sales meeting, I'm finding it super hard to like concentrate and focus, especially on kind of like everyday lead gen kind of things that are important to do for just the yeah just to make sure that my pipeline is full. um yeah, like it kind of just like the driving and like I thrive in structure. Like I definitely know that about myself. And
Yep.
so the fact that everything's different all the time is definitely yeah, like that this aspect of my my role I'm not doing at the level that will produce the results that I want. So any thoughts or feedback or anything like
Yeah.
that?
So just so I'm clear, the problem is that when you're not out on the road, it's hard to, or when you're not in a sales meeting, it's hard to get time to generate leads because you're on the road, or just you just
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
sit.
like a ton of my day, I'm like right now I'm driving, like a ton of my day, like it's not like, oh, okay, I have appointments during this time and that time, and then, you know, I can go straight into my lead gen stuff or block out an hour because it's always different. Um, or like, like right now, like I'm driving, so it feels like the
Yeah.
best use of my time is to be, on something like this, or to learn something. But like I really need to do lead gen, But it feels super. It's just very hard to concentrate. I think just because like at the
Yep.
after all the driving, I'm like cognitively sort of zapped. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I think I got something to help out. So prior to you going out and being able to drive to sales appointments, you need leads, right?
Yeah, like the company sends me on leads, like what, like usually like a couple a day, but really the real money, like much bigger money, is in me generating my own leads, um and and like following
Yeah.
up with past leads and stuff like that.
All right. So the real money is in generating your own leads and following up with past leads. You love structure and organization. So my
Yeah,
question is, at what point in the morning time can you dedicate 1 hour to lead generation prior to going and doing anything else? Because it's the most important. You just told me it's the most important
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So like where is the opportunity for you to put that structure in your week? And maybe it's not every day, but like where can you start to add up and stack some hours focused on that prior to exhausting your mind cognitively?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can I can separate out in the morning. I there's a part of me, I don't know if this is ridiculous, but I'm like, is it weird to be to like if I was a lead to receive a bunch of texts at like 6 in the morning? Like,
Well, this is the beauty of software. Schedule that.
yeah, okay. So
Like,
like, what?
so I
Yeah.
had a
So what would
client.
you recommend for that?
Yeah, so I mean any sort of, I mean if you have an iPhone, you can schedule text messages. Or
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you have Go
Okay.
High Level or a software like that, you can schedule text messages and emails and all that stuff. So just to
Okay.
give you an example of like last week I had a client on a call and he's like, "Hey, can you follow up with me?" Like I was like, "What can I do for you besides everything we've talked about?" He's like, "Next
Yeah.
week, can you just follow up and basically confirm I did what I said I was going to do?"
Yeah.
So I could either one, remind myself to do that, or I
Schedule
can
it out. Yeah.
schedule it in that moment to send him a text
Yeah.
message at this time and ask him. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who wakes up super early. So I do a lot of my work between like 3 and 6 a.m., which
Yeah.
obviously I'm not texting people and emailing people at that hour, but I can
Yeah.
schedule all of that. So that's like in terms of a tactical recommendation on that, I would
Hmm.
time block for yourself. Again, start something small that's not going to send you into like a mental panic that, hey, I'm not doing this other thing I should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe it's 2 days a week in the morning, I'm dedicating an hour before I leave the house.
Yeah.
Like before I leave the door, this is how many people I'm going to be following up with. And then schedule those messages, and then you have a different time at the later in the day to field them.
Mhm.
And like you want to, like, in terms of structure organization, this also helps to break the cycle of trying to text and drive and call and drive and do all these things
Yeah.
at the same time. Is
Yeah.
it's almost like breakfast and lunch. It's like, hey, at breakfast, I'm going to send these messages, and then at lunch, I'm going to do this. But I also wouldn't do it at breakfast and lunch, just using that as an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
But like just from what you've said in terms of your desires of structure, I think that's a great thing to input. And then because of the number one priority and the top revenues coming from that, like I
Yeah.
think it should be like going back to the mental side of it, those are the reminders, like I was just talking about with Justin, like reminding yourself of why you're doing it. Because again, like
Yeah.
you're going to have a day where you're like, fuck this, I'm not doing it because I got to get out on the road, or I got to go do this, or I got an appointment here, or I want to go do this instead. But it's that
Yeah.
reminder of this is the number one activity I can do,
Yeah.
even when it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Anyone else? Anything else that you guys got going on? You want to? I got a couple minutes before I got to jump off, but I'm more than happy to help out with anything else that you guys have or anything that's come up on the call. All good, all good. All right, guys. Generally, I'm doing these bi-weekly, so I'd love for you guys to hop back on. I'd love to hear the updates on some of the tasks and everything. And then also, if you're looking for more in-depth help of like how do you go through this kind of like mental gymnasium and kind of bring these different things together for yourself. I did drop the link for my book. It's not a typical, it's not a marketing book. It's not to sell anything. It's literally like a guide for you to actually go through and see how I went through the process myself, and then actually questions and guides and all sorts of stuff for you to do on your own. So the link is in the comments and if you want it, and feel free to email me with any questions as you guys go through it. But awesome work today and glad to be able to help you guys out.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Take care.
All right, talk to you guys later.